Hello, everybody. It's Janet and Jason, and we're here to talk about what is coming up on our radio shows next week. Wednesday, Jason's show, Titillating Tarot with Jason Livanis at 4 p.m. Pacific and 7 p.m. East Coast time. And on Thursday, Living Astrology, same time, same bat channel, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. ET.
You say that with a certain... I don't know, a certain sigh of relief. Oh, I tell you, this Mercury retrograding, fucking me with no kissing, no spit, nada. I'm having terrible computer problems, phone problems, TV problems. Oh my God, insanity.
It is a bit crazy. It is a bit crazy, but you know what? We know it's coming. We just have to make the best of it. And maybe there's just something you haven't seen yet about your phone that you need to learn before you can do what you want to do.
I tell you, yesterday I was on pins and needles yesterday because anybody who listened to the show last night, which I'll just dive into, I've been doing the death card. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, here, let me bring
coming at you. Death. Doesn't it look ominous? Snakes and Kali and fire and brimstone. It's all bullshit. It talks about life at the end of the day.
Becomes her.
Yes, death becomes her. Anybody that listened to yesterday's show, they would have heard me going, hello, Janet, are you there? No particular reason. And for all of you that I don't know, Janet and I, we swap duties. I produce her show, she produces my show. So we're in the back, doing our phone screenings, this and that. And all of a sudden I see this thing come down. Oh, host is no longer on the line. I'm like, fuck.
You know what's even worse is when it did that, it automatically pops up with this thing that says, you are no longer in the host queue. Do you want to end the episode? And I went, no.
Right. I almost clicked the end episode. Anyway, so everybody doesn't want to hear this. All I'm trying to get across is that, yes, Mercury is starting to tickle us with its ivories. More like a tusk. More like a fucking elephant tusk. But anywho,
up your backside.
Hello, what?
I said up your backside. An elephant tusk up your backside.
Up your ass. So here's the deal. The deal is that usually, and so many people remember, when I began, I was doing one show per card, and I sounded like a crackhead because I was trying to fit in like all this information in one episode.
Download fast.
What the fuck am I doing? Who's out there like, oh, okay, all right, no one. So I decided to take it easy, sleazy, breezy. And so people have known I'm beginning to do 2 and 3, and now it looks like there might be even 4 episodes. Because this card is a heavy hitter. People, of course, always see it and they're like, death. Well, yeah, if it comes up in a certain position, like right after the tower or right before the tower, you're going to have, how do I say this, ma'am? But the rabbit died. Yeah. And for anybody out there who understands the old pregnancy tests, that's funny. But anyway, random shit. So the first week of the card, I was so lucky and honored to be joined by a dear friend of mine who I've known for over 30 years or so. And, about 20...
How many years?
25 years ago. And so the long and the short of it is that she came on, we knew each other, and we actually bonded over this subject of death. I helped her through a very difficult time period when we had the epidemic going on in the 80s. Mm-hmm. Her brother was transitioning from this plane to another, and we just bonded, and I became very close with her. To this day, I still wear the ring she gave me. It was her brother's, this gold one, not the Greek thing, but it was her brother's, and I wear it always. It's sort of this homage to, hey, you helped another person in this world, so no matter how shitty things get over yourself, Jason. But we became dear friends over the subject of death. And we started actually seeing the same therapist on the Upper West Side, and that's where it took off for her. She has become a very well-known and very well-respected Master's of Social Work, as well as an LMC, LMNOPQ, all those letters that come out.
Yeah, all those letters after your name that mean you did something stupendous.
Yeah, she's basically a psychotherapist of the highest order. Her name is Janet. No, her name is not Janet. Her name is Rita Morgan. And she came on the show, and we discussed sort of the mechanisms, the functions of death, and the steps you go through. And we had wonderful callers in, and that was the first week show. That was not yesterday, but the week before. And I thought, oh, no problem. We got off the phone, and we had such a great time. She said, Jason, would your listeners be interested in a show maybe called Tales from the Other Side? Now, really, metaphysical show. How could I fucking not be like, yeah? What do you mean?
They love that kind of stuff. People love those.
Oh my God, yeah. And so here's somebody who is, working with the left side of the brain as well, very pragmatic, dealing with psychoanalysis and all that stuff. And, people are coming in because she specializes in bereavement, loss, and death. Besides couples therapy, she's incredible. She says to me, Jason, I have had so many clients come in, and of course their identities would not be shared, but so many clients come in with these incredible tale of people who have crossed over, who have graduated, as I like to say, that are like, hey, you numbnuts, I'm sending you a fucking message.
Pay attention. Why can't you hear me?
When books are falling off the shelf and this and that. And so I didn't share this, and I'll share it again on the show this coming week. So just because I'm scattered and crazy today, we had a show with Rita. Yesterday was my show discussing the card. Of course, there was way too much information. So we did some mini readings yesterday, which I thought were helpful, plus the show. And Rita is coming on again this coming week, which is April
6th.
April 26th with Tales from the Beyond. She's going to be telling me and talking to me about wonderful stories from her clients who have had people contact, have entities that have contacted her clients after the fact. But to make, and I can't make this stuff up. I know people are going to be like, yeah, sure, it's just, stunt. Who the fuck needs a stunt like this? Who the fuck needs a stunt like this when nobody can see it and I'm on the radio? My past life incarnation here in this world was that of an opera singer in the beginning part of my life. I'm used to being in front of people like you. You enjoy interacting. It's different with this radio fucking thing. So, all right. Anyway, toodly. We're having the show. It's going great last week. And I have these large African masks.
Right.
Heavy. That, when I tell you they're on the wall, there's no way. There's no vibration on the wall. When she asked me at the end of the program, would you be interested in Tales from the Other Side? I said, you mean like messages that come through in certain ways and certain events? And I said, well, yeah. I said, I love that kind of stuff, that kind of friendly poltergeistic. Yeah, I like it. Let's make it an adjective. Poltergeistical energy. So I'm sitting there, and not a joke, I hear thump. And I was doing the show sitting on my bed, my computer, because we go into a virtual room. And the fucking mask, literally, Janet, I cannot, maybe I'll take a picture of it and we'll do a little meme thing, whatever. It was impossible for this thing because I had it in and behind. It would have to jump up and out and off the wall. It wasn't like, oh, I'm falling off the wall. It was
it jumped out at you.
There's like a gate of quartz crystals, and it was tucked in behind. This fucking thing jumped up, out, and over and landed right next to me. And no sooner before I had said that, I said, yeah, my mom used to bring me signs before she started talking to me. And no sooner I say that, this fucking hardcore, I'm going to show it to you. I'll make a picture of it and I'll send it in to you.
I think you sent me a picture of it after it happened.
I did. And, it's very like, oh, Mugulagalaga, Zimbabwe, whatever it is.
It looks like it's really heavy wood or something.
Yeah. The people that are out there making this thing. But anyway, so, and for all of you, I'm an equal opportunity insulter, so I don't care who the fuck you are. I'm still going to insult you, including myself. So, so yesterday was the symbology of the card. This coming week, we're having Tales from the Crypt, Tales from the Beyond. And what's going to be nice about it isn't going to be a metaphysician discussing. It's going to be somebody who is left side brain, doctoral. Wow, this is somebody who
someone with some street cred who has also experienced some of those things.
Big time, big time. And then after that, I'm going to finish up the card the week after with its symbology, because there's just way too much. And I hope that everybody enjoyed the show. It is a hardcore card, and that's why I'm giving it 4 separate episodes. But it's been a lot of fun. And interestingly enough, it's happening right now. This card is happening right now during the time of Easter, death and rebirth, resurrection, all of that shit. And for us Greeky, I'm such a bad Greek.
I don't even know when
our Easter is this Sunday or the Sunday after. We got to wait for the Jews to finish the Passover. Is Passover done? Yeah, right?
I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm not Jewish. I don't know.
And so that's my story, Morning Glory. I've chatted on enough. I'm excited. It's all about death, but I have to tell you, is this video going out today?
I'm going to send it out tomorrow.
Oh, all right. Damn it. So, because I have a boner. Yes, that's right. I get boners. I have a boner about your show tonight. I cannot wait, but we're not talking about tonight.
We talked about tonight last week.
We did. So tell me about next week for you, lady.
Well, first of all, I want to share a tale of the dark side myself. You were talking about how this mask jumped off the wall at you. Well, when in 2007, my husband's mother was passing away, and she wanted to pass at home. So we had hospice set up for her, and they had called us and told us it's near the end. So we all drove down to Oregon to be with her. And we were literally all standing in a ring around her bed, cheering her on, saying, please let yourself go. 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 Seriously, it was sort of like that. And, when she finally passed, we were appropriately sad. I mean, obviously, but we were also happy for her and, being released from, she had lung cancer. So it was not a pretty, death. So later we were all sitting around the dining room table. She's still lying in state, if you will, because we're waiting for the mortuary to come and get her. And all of a sudden, no lie, the picture of her husband and her at their wedding flies off the wall. It was like someone walked by and hit it and knocked it off onto the floor. And we all jumped and stared at each other like, who's going to pick up that picture? But we also all knew in that moment that she or he, her deceased husband, they, were definitely telling us that they were okay, or that she had met up with him on the other side. It was such a validation. I'm getting chill bumps even thinking about it.
My skin is absolutely on point right now.
Yeah. It was so obvious that it was her. And it was great. Great. I love hearing about that. But, it seems like you and I are in sync these couple of weeks here on the subject of death and transformation, and the whole idea of my show next week is completing our series and Pluto conversation. And of course, Pluto takes us into the underworld and is supportive of that dive through all of the things, the unseen, right? The taboos, of which death tends to be one.
Just so everybody understands what you're saying, because it can sound a little misleading, you're saying Ceres as the dwarf planet, not a series of shows. So you're talking about Ceres,
the dwarf planet, and Pluto, also a dwarf planet.
Yeah.
And last week we got into how they have a symbiotic relationship, and we talked about how they were meant to be the caretakers of both the upper part of the earth and he the caretaker of the underside of the earth. And we talked about how we were caretakers of the earth as well, and whether or not we are doing a very good job of it. We brought in some global warming information. And unfortunately, we didn't get to finish the entire series of Ceres and Pluto, because next week, this week we're doing medical astrology. Next week, we're going to bring back the Ceres and Pluto series and talk about food, literally, and food's relationship to us as human beings and to the planet in general. Bees come into the picture. And remember, was it last year or the year before, there was significant worry about colony collapse, I think it was colony collapse disorder or something like that, with where the bees were likely, not going to make it. And a lot of the pesticides and things like that we were using quite possibly be the culprits, or a virus, I think is what it ultimately turned out to be, that the bees had gotten. But unbelievably, or believe it or not, bees have a very important symbology to Ceres and Pluto. So we'll get into that. Also next week, one of the things that, brings it sort of full circle with you and the death card is that Ceres and Pluto are really in cahoots, if you will, around the idea of death, loss, letting go, separation, and some of the fears and the craziness that we all have around that. And there's also a love connection here, because remember, Ceres is Demeter in mythology, and it was her daughter Persephone that ended up married to Pluto. She had to release her daughter to Pluto in order to have the earth be fertile again. And so that mythology is really important to everything that we'll be talking about next week.
Is Demeter the same character in Greek as Diana in...
No, Demeter and Ceres are the same character.
Okay.
And Persephone, and I forgot what her name is in
Latin.
In the Latin.
Yeah.
Proserpina. And Proserpina, which is an incredibly weird name, but hey, probably perfect in those days. So the whole mythology of Pluto and Ceres and Persephone and Proserpina are all involved in this idea of love, loss, letting go. And next week we'll be talking about that, as well as the whole food aspect of this. And then, my hope is that what we can do in readings is that we can take a look at people's charts and see how the natal series and the transiting series are playing out in their lives. So that's kind of what I would love to get into as we get into next week. But for this
Sounds
week,
fun.
Yeah, this week we're transiting into the medical astrology piece. So it's kind of separated. The first issue that we did, first session, first radio show that we did. And so I'll probably start with a little bit of a review of what was last week's show and go on from there.
It sounds exciting. Ever since the first Bare Naked Ladies tour that you and I did, Stripped Down with Janet and Jason, you had discussed how integral astrology was to the medical arts, etc. And so I was always like, that interests me. I'm excited about that.
There's actually a term for it, Jason. I am going to put you in sort of not a pause. I'm going to make my screen smaller and take a look at it, because I posted it on Facebook this morning.
It's a long Greek word, right?
It's a very long word, and I'm going to botch it, I'm sure, when I go to say what it is.
Give it to me.
There's no help for it. But actually, the word is, I'm not going to show. Okay, well, how's that?
Welcome to Mercury retrograde.
No, yeah. Welcome to Facebook, who is the bane of my existence.
No.
It shows the picture, but not what I wrote. How stupid is that? But here's what the word is.
Can you share your screen so I can see?
I got to find it first. Hold it. Oh, here. No, I don't need to find my screen. I know where my screen is. But let me share my screen.
Yeah.
And that's it right there. Share screen. And here's the word. Iatromathematics. Right here. Iatromathematics is an ancient medical system that associates various parts of the body, diseases, and drugs as under the influence of the sun, moon, and planets.
Interesting. In Greek, I believe it's iatromathematikas is the Greek, if I'm not mistaken. But I would be interested in hearing what iatro, that prefix means.
I think it means measure.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. But here's an interesting overview. Can you see this part of my screen?
Yes, I can. And I was thinking, wow, I'd like to definitely have that. And if you bring your cursor down to the lower right, do you see that illuminated page?
This one here?
Yeah. That's fascinating stuff, actually.
Yeah.
These illuminated manuscripts were only really for the select few.
Right.
They were for the very rich and educated. So it's interesting to see that.
It is.
The picture is so well done.
That is a beautiful picture.
Yeah, I hope that you save that picture for your files. It's a great. It's a wonderful one. So look at it says Capricorn, the knees, of course.
Capricorn, knees, joints, skeletal system, but also the skin, the gallbladder, and
Saturn. Yeah.
Anything that forms structure in the body, because its rulership, Saturn, is skin, hair, teeth, bones, the body's defenses. Spleen too. Woohoo! Which in human design, the spleen is all about fear. So isn't that a sort of interesting connotation that sometimes...
That just fucked me up. Want me to tell you why? I have, as a lot of the people in the Mediterranean area, have something called thalassemia. For me, it's called thalassemia minor. And the long and the short of it is that if you were to take one of your red blood cells, one of my red blood cells, and put it under a microscope, I have everything that you have, except that mine are proportionally smaller. It's like the Mediterranean Greek version of sickle cell without any kind of deformity. And what this means is my body has to produce more red blood cells and work a little harder. And what do we know? What does the spleen do? The spleen filters
red blood cells.
So my spleen is always overactive a bit. It's never held me back, but how interesting. Capricorn, Saturn, spleen, all that stuff.
Well, here's what I am finding is fascinating for me at the moment is that Pluto, the planet we'll be talking about with Ceres next week, is the ruler of the pancreas, metabolism, and what I'm struggling with these days is the whole idea of diabetes, perhaps, or pancreatic issues, or metabolic syndrome, which means my metabolism isn't behaving correctly. So now I'm going to take a look at Pluto in my chart and go, what the what? Actually, I know that Pluto is transiting through my house of health. So how interesting is that?
I believe what she was trying to say, folks, was fuck! But anyway, it's like cursing Tourette's. Fuck!
I just can't bring myself to say that in polite company. And
I'm not polite.
If they watch my show, I'm so screwed.
Yeah, well, they'll get over it. At least we keep it real. If anybody else, if you check out some of these other astrologists, like, chimes in the background. Hi, my name is Calandria. No, fuck that. I want to know what's going on. So I understand that Pluto is going retrograde today?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Today. No, today's the 20th. Sorry, today.
See, look, the novice astrologer over here. No.
Well, because we normally shoot these on Friday. I was on Friday time, and we're actually shooting this on Thursday, so I'm not in the right context.
Got it.
But it's all gay. It's all good. It's all gay.
It's all gay.
It's all gay.
It's all gay. Okay. Also, for all of you out there, I'm going to start planting the seed now. I have been very honored to begin an educational program with Janet. She has used me as a guinea pig, as well as others, with respects to human design. She is coming out with a full-fledged motherfucking course, which you all have to buy and you all have to watch. It's fascinating. So that will be coming out soon. I'm just planting the seed in the back of all of y'all's heads.
We are now in the editing form of this project, and that should take maybe a week or two. And after that, it's just putting the finishing touches on. So my guess is by the middle of May, I should have it ready for production or for viewing.
Something else that I want to talk to you off camera about is, you and I have gotten our knowledge experientially, but besides experientially, reading is fun. Riff.
Reading is fundamental.
Mental. I would entreat. We should start giving more book recommendations. I should put that probably on my website. Blah, 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 blah. And if you haven't gone there, it's www.titillatingtarotwithjasonlevanis.com. Yes, I said that fast. It's all one word.
They can look below you, because I always put a little banner in the finished video that has your website. And you would know that if you watch the video after it's produced.
You know what? I'm lucky I can use my computer right now.
I
So
know.
anyway,
Oh,
fuck
God.
you very much. Fuck you very much.
Oh,
But anyway, and for all of you out there, get in touch with Janet at www.living-astrology.com for all of that. However, anybody that's listening to this who might have a wild hair up their ass, for this coming week's show and or this subject, I believe Janet has read this book, so she can stand by me and give her janitorial. That doesn't sound so right. Her Janet-esque seal of approval. Janitorial sounds like, you're doing the Carol Burnett intro lady, Anybody's old enough to remember that. But anyway, I highly recommend a book called, are you ready for this, folks? Journey of Souls. And it was written, I'm sure you do. If you have it, pick it up. Show it to the camera if it's available, but not if you have to go to Guam to get it. Anyway.
I got to go to Guam to get it, so. Great book, though.
By, not Dan Baker, but the guy that sounds like who shot the apple off the head.
Isaac Newton?
Michael Newton, PhD. I always remember it that way, that word association, because I can't remember. Michael Newton, who is a PhD.
Yes.
I highly recommend you read it. It talks about death and the afterlife. Were you there when your mother-in-law passed physically? Well, you said, were you standing around when she took her last breath?
Yep.
By any chance, and I'm just curious, before she went, did she put her arms out as if to hug someone?
No, but I do have a fascinating story that happened to Terry when he was there a couple of months before she passed. He stayed a week with her.
All right, well, don't share it now.
Okay.
Because this is going to be the longest fucking promo video in the world. But I want your story for next week. I want everybody to hear it. And so all of you that heard me and saw me just do this, people who are involved in hospice and in helping people pass over, like 8 out of 10 times, every single time, they report that right before the last breath, no matter how feeble they are, how bedridden they are, from the bed, they bring their arms up and they start to hug, and then they die.
As if they're greeting.
Well, we'll talk about that on the show now, won't we? It'll be a little teaser.
That's awesome.
Anyway, Michael Newton, PhD, master hypnotherapist, master, psychotherapist. He was basically the guy that everybody sent their people to when after like 10 years of the psychotherapeutic module, it wasn't working. Of course, the idea being that, we'll regress someone a couple lifetimes back and find out that you were Queen Latifah of 14th century Abyssinia or some bullshit like that.
Cleopatra.
You don't like ties now because you were suffocated. We don't need to know that. But what happened was this guy stumbled onto, check it out, folks. If this doesn't titillate you, nothing is going to. The time period between lives. I
love it.
I'll just let that settle for everyone out there. Think about it. We always think about, past life, we're going in, we live, we go up, we come back down. But what about the time period
in between?
And what's incredible is the information that he reports. He only wrote 2 books and a manual. The first one is Journey of Souls. Second one is Destiny of Souls. Do not read them out of order. You won't get it. And then he actually wrote a manual for other psychotherapists who were hypnotherapists to help people. Factoid. Everyone all over the world in different languages reports.
Yes.
Every fucking language.
Same thing with near-death experiences. I mean, virtually all around the globe, those experiences have the same sort of characteristics. And so, I mean, I find that kind of comforting that it's a collective experience that we have.
Yes. And it always makes me giggle when you listen to the hardcore left side brain scientists. Well, you're seeing electromagnetic at the time that you're got, and they rationalize the shit out of it. Like, motherfucker, you're never mind. This idea that, you get planted in the ground like a potato and you wait for poor Saint Gabriel to come around and blow his fucking horn. Think about it. Anyway.
All right, well, we have gotten way off topic here. So let me just say, that our shows are Titillating Tarot with Jason Livanis on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. East Coast. And Living Astrology is on Thursdays at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. East Coast. Thank you all for tuning into our promotional video, I guess we could
or a chat session.
And be watching for the next weekly energy report, which Jason and I will be filming next.
Nice.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.